We're going to take some time to talk about the unit circle. A unit circle has a radius of 1 unit. So if I'm going straight to the right, my coordinates of that point would be 1 to the right and up 0. If I was going to this point here, which would be then being a unit circle just 1 unit up, I'm not left and right at all, and I'd be 1 unit up. Going straight to the left here, for this one, I'd be just 1 to the left, so that's -1, and I'm not going up and down, so that would be 0. Or if I go 1 unit straight down, I would be 0 left and right, and 1 unit down. So those are the coordinates on our axes. You should be familiar already where 0, 2 pi, pi over 2, 180 degrees, 90, and all those are that are already marked in red. Now, as we go through the rest of this, you may not want to write this down initially, and you may want to just listen to the video while we talk through this, and then pause the video at the very end and copy it all down. Now, 30 degrees is going to be approximately here. So if I'm up 30 degrees, this green point here matches with all the other green points. I'm 30 degrees up, so over here I'd be 30 degrees back from 180 or 150. This green point here, if I would reflect it down, so if I take this green point, reflect it over, I get this green point. If I take that, reflect it over the x-axis, I would get this green point. So instead of being 30 degrees back, I'd be 30 degrees forward, 180, forward 30 degrees would be this. If I take this green point here and reflect it down to this green point here, instead of being up 30, I'd be back 30, 30 degrees back from 360. Now, cosine of 30, cosine deals with x, and the cosine of 30 is something you're supposed to have memorized. You know that that's root 3 over 2. Sine of 30, you're supposed to have memorized, and that is the y value, which is this, of 1/2. Now, if you just take this point, you take this and you reflect it over, instead of being, I'm not changing my height here at all, between this point and this point over here, I'm still at the same height of 1/2. However, instead of being right root 3 over 2, I'd be left root 3 over 2, which means it's negative. If I take that green point and reflect it down here, I would be going left, which is negative, and down, which is also negative, so both coordinates would be negative. If I would take this point up here and reflect it down, I didn't change how far over I was, so it would be positive, but instead of going up 1/2, I'm down 1/2, so it would be -1/2. If I'm looking at radians, I could convert my 30 degrees to radians by multiplying it by pi over 180 degrees, and I would get pi over 6. So I'm a 1/6 of a pi up here, so when I reflect it over to here, I'd be a 1/6 of a pi back. A full pi minus a 1/6 of a pi is 5/6. When I'm going to this one down here, I'd be a 1/6 of a pi beyond pi, so it'd be 1 pi plus a 1/6 of a pi, which when you add those together is 7 pi over 6. For this one here in radians, I'd be reflecting down a 1/6 of a pi, so I'd be at 2 pi going backwards a 1/6 of a pi. 2 pi minus pi over 6 is 11 pi over 6. We now want to go ahead and do that for these other angles. I'm going to go ahead and go the cosine of 45, which is x. We should know that as being root 2 over 2. Sine of 45 is y, which is also root 2 over 2. So now if I go up 45, and then if I reflected that point over to here, I would then be backwards 45 from 180. Backwards 45 from 180 is 335 degrees. If I take this point and reflect it over the y-axis to get over here, instead of going right, which is positive, I'd be going left, which is negative, so my x-coordinate is negative. I'm not changing my height at all. So my height, my y value would still be the same as positive root 2 over 2. So once again, I was 45 degrees up, so here I was 45 degrees back from 180. So when I reflect that down here over the x-axis, I'd be 45 degrees beyond 180, so I'd be at 180 plus 45, that's 225. If I reflect this point down, the coordinates down, I'd still be the same distance over, which is negative, and instead of going up root 2 over 2, I'd be going down root 2 over 2, which is negative. Looking at this one over here for the fourth quadrant, I was 45 degrees up, so then I'd be 45 degrees back from 180 or 360. 360 minus 45 is 315. If I reflect this point down, I do not change my x-coordinate, so it'd be positive, but instead of going up root 2 over 2, I'd be going down root 2 over 2. Looking at the radians for this purple, pi or 45 degrees is pi over 180. So 45 degrees times pi over 180, simplifying that is a pi over 4. So that's a fourth of a pi up. So when I reflect that over here, I'd be a fourth of a pi back from a full pi. So a full pi minus a fourth of a pi is 3/4 of a pi. When I reflect that down here, I'd be at pi going down a fourth. So a full pi plus a fourth is 5 pi over 4. Or over here, I'd be going at 2 pi going backwards a fourth. 2 pi minus a fourth of a pi is 7 pi over 4. So now we're going to deal with the blue ones. So that's 60 degrees. The cosine of 60 is your x. That's one you're supposed to have memorized of a half. The sine of 60 is your y. That's another one you're supposed to have memorized, which is this. So if I'm 60 up to get to the blue, when I reflect it over my y-axis to get over to here, I'd be 60 back from 180. 180 minus 60 is my 120. Reflecting my coordinates, I was a half a unit over. When I reflect it to get over to here, I'd be a half a unit left, so it'd be negative. Notice they're at the same height, so my y value is the same. Taking that, which was 60 degrees up here, I'd have to then go 60 degrees beyond 180, 60 beyond 180, so 60 onto 180 is my 240. Reflecting this straight down, my x would be the same, and instead of going up to get to this, I'd be going down, so my y value would be negative. Taking this blue point and reflecting it down here, instead of going up 60, I'd be going 60 degrees back from 360, so 360 minus 60 is 300. Reflecting this point down, my x would still be the same. It's still the same distance over, but instead of being up root 3 over 2, I'd be down root 3 over 2, so it would be negative. So now if I take 60 degrees and multiply it by pi over 180 to convert it to radians, I would get pi over 3. So the blue is a third of a pi up here, so when I reflect it, I'd be a third of a pi back from a full pi. So 1 pi minus a third of a pi is 2/3 of a pi. When I reflect that to be able to get to this one here, which is a third of a pi, I'm at pi going forwards a third of a pi. Pi plus a third of a pi is 4 pi over 3. To get to our last one here, I'd be at 2 pi going backwards a third of a pi. 2 pi minus a third of a pi is 5 pi over 3. So this is how you get your unit circle. You will be expected to have this memorized, and you'll need to practice to get it done in time.